guys, it's your girl Shay and welcome to another video. So in this video I'm going to be doing a full week of workouts for the summer. You guys have seemed to like these and my routine kind of changes up every so often, so I want to kind of show you what I've been doing lately, what I'm prioritizing, etc. So we're starting off on Monday. So I work full-time, so I can only go to the gym in the evenings. So 5 o'clock to 6, I try to aim for like an hour within the gym, like in and out. Of course the gym is like obviously busy usually at that time because everybody's finishing work, they're trying to get in their gym time, all that stuff. But one thing I've told myself is that lately I've been going to the gym for my mental health rather than like fitness goals or strength goals. I know I said that was my goal like last year, but mainly now I just use it as a release, a way to kind of release my anxiety. When I finish work, I like to have a decompression like session kind of thing, and the gym is that for me. So first off, we're starting with leg day. So this is my glute and hamstring leg day, and I like to have 2 leg days a week. I've tried 3. Honestly, I don't like it. I don't feel well rested enough to hit that 3rd leg day, and usually by that 3rd leg day I'm just like completely exhausted. So for me, 2 works. Working a full-time job, juggling a social life, YouTube, all that stuff, 2 is good for me. 2 leg days. So first thing I'm starting off with is some reverse lunges. Now these take out of me. It takes out so much energy, you know, like, so if I don't know, I'm just getting to the point right now where my leg days are very challenging because now I've been in the gym for like years now, so I have to use very challenging weights, and it's at the point now where it's not fun. You know what I mean? Like, who wants to go into the gym and lift like 200 pounds or something? Anyways, so I've seen a lot of progress in my glutes and I'm really proud of that, and I've stuck to my routine. I've just kind of switched out 1 exercise or 2, but I always like to do some sort of unilateral exercise. So unilateral means 1 leg at a time. I used to have a glute imbalance, so that's when one side of your glutes kind of like activates a lot more. One could be weaker, the other is stronger. So I've actually fixed that by doing unilateral exercises. So that's why I'm starting with this. The way I structure my leg days is that I put the hardest exercise at the beginning, and that's just because I want to make sure that my energy is directed towards this. So everything after this hard movement will be like an addition. So first thing I have is the reverse lunges. Reverse lunges targets the glute a lot more. So if you're quad dominant like me, you'd probably want to do some reverse lunges. So if I do the forward lunges, I feel a lot more in my quads. I'm trying to work my glutes, so I'm doing these. I like to hold a dumbbell in each hand, so I'm using, I believe it's either 25 or 30s, and I do these in sets of 10. And then sometimes I take a break between each leg, and then after I've done both legs, I'll take like a good minute rest, and that just makes sure that my heart rate is up, I'm still sweating, I feel good, I'm nice and warm. I hate like cooling down in between exercises because, yeah, I don't know, it just feels weird. I also had to take like a little puffer break because I got asthma. You know what I'm saying? But I have seen so much progress from doing these reverse lunges. I don't know, it just hits my glutes in such a good way, and I've seen a lot of definitions in my quads, and I really love it. I used to like not really work my quads because I'm quad dominant, so my quads grow very easily. So they get pretty large, and I obviously want to fit into like my clothing. So yeah, I wasn't prioritizing quads, but yeah. So now I move into my second hardest exercise. So I'm doing dumbbell RDLs. This is a preloaded barbell. So I'm using, let's see here, I think it's an 80-pound. I also have to use straps, lifting straps, because my wrists are very weak. I also had tendonitis. I'm like recovering from it. I'm happy to say that I'm pretty much recovered, so that's pretty great. It just kind of flares up every now and then. But yeah, I use a lifting strap so that this doesn't become a wrist exercise. I want this to be focused on my hamstrings and glutes. So a trick that I use for this is to imagine that I'm pushing a door closed with my butt. I want to keep my spine like neutral, straight. I also want to look down. I don't want to go too low where I'm feeling this in my lower back. I just want just enough of a stretch in my hamstrings, and then I'm going to come back up. I keep a slight bend in my knee, and that's going to target my glutes a lot better. If I wanted to target hamstrings a bit more, then I would keep more of a straight leg stance. But for me, I kind of want to target that, like, you know, that glute connection, the glute hamstring tie-in. I want to target that a lot more. So I keep a nice bend in my knee. And if you didn't know, I was recently diagnosed with scoliosis, and I have like SI joint pain. So SI joint is like in your hip, and my pain is in my left hip. So I have a lot of pain there. So my RDLs may look a bit different than yours, so don't compare yourself to my form. For me, I kind of lean more towards one side depending on how much pain I have. We're working to fix this. It's an imbalance. It just depends on how much pain I do have. So unfortunately, because I do have scoliosis, I can't really target single leg hamstring exercises because I just get too much pain. So now we're going into my accessory movements. So I'm doing the hip abduction, but like to the side. So I am going to show you a hack if you do not have a ankle strap. So I just use a regular like wrist handle, I guess you could say, one of these handles. I'm sure you have them at your gym. So I'm just putting my ankle through it, and then I'm moving the little hand attachment to the side so it's not like rubbing against my ankle. And I feel like I get a really good glute connection with this. I feel like with the ankle strap, I can't go very like heavy because it usually like falls off. People say like, oh, well, like get a good strap. Well, those are sometimes expensive, okay? And so I don't have one, but here's a tip for you gym girlies. If you can't afford one or you don't have one, I just use the cable machine with this little hand attachment. So what I'm doing here is a hip abduction, but like with an emphasis on the glute medius, not the glute max. So my side muscles, so like the hip muscles. So the glute medius and the glute minimus. And so what I'm doing here is just leaning off to the side just a little bit. So I've stepped my leg over the cable, and then I'm just bringing my other leg, the leg that I'm working, just right behind that other leg, and then I'm just kind of using the muscles in my glutes to kind of move it to the side. So imagine a hip abduction movement, but this one is just like an emphasis on like the glute medius. So doing these has really helped with my scoliosis because the SI joint pain. So this actually really helps. I'm trying to strengthen the muscles. This one actually took me a while to kind of get down because, you know, for a while I didn't have the ankle strap. So I saw this on like some social media, the girl using the wrist, you know, the wrist attachment to do this, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. So if you wanted to target more of your glute maximus with this, so like the large portion of your glute, I would just turn my body towards the machine, and then I would be kicking back. Whereas this one, I'm kicking to the side, and that's why I'm targeting the glute medius and minimus. So this really helps build that like glute shelf, like, you know, that booty shelf. So with these, I don't go too heavy because one time I increased the weight and I actually like felt it. It was not a pleasant, no, it was not great. The glute medius and minimus are actually like weak muscles, so you don't actually need that much weight. For these, I focus on reps, like how many reps can I get up to. So usually I kind of aim for 12. If I do like a burnout at the end of my exercises, then I'll go a lot higher, but usually I'll aim for 2 sets of 12, and then right after that kind of take a nice break, and this will be my finisher for my leg day. Okay, so now my physiotherapist has given me some exercises to strengthen my core and help alleviate the pain that I have with my scoliosis and my SI joint. So a lot of these exercises may seem basic to you, but you know, my core is very weak. No matter how much I work my core, it seems to be weak, but you know, it's okay. So he gave me some glute bridges. I have to do these in like sets of 10, holding for 30 seconds. I try to see how long I can go. I don't know if you'd see it in this video, but like I start shaking, and my physio was telling me it's not my legs that are weak, it's actually my core, because I was like, are you kidding me? I work my legs so often, I lift heavy, like what's going on? He's like, it's okay, it's just your core. So I've been working on these. I try to do a little bit every single like after my exercises, and I use it as a cool down, and this has been helping. Instead of just doing like taking one day and doing all the exercises, kind of spread it out over the week. Usually after my workouts, I'm not feeling the greatest after work. I've been sitting in a desk all day, feeling stiff, you know, so this is a really great stretching exercise. Feels really good for my pain, so Now, of course, I couldn't show you a week of workouts without showing you my protein shake. So this is what I have every night. I just find like I don't really like to eat after my workout. I'm not really hungry. So I just want to have a protein shake. It's just easier on my stomach. So my favorite flavor lately has been the acai berry. Acai berry, and I'm so happy to say that I have a code for you guys. So my code just got updated, so now it is Shay30. So now you get 30% off. Before you used to get 20% off, so now you get 30. So make sure you use my code when you're shopping at Good Protein. So this is a plant-based protein. It has enzymes in it, probiotics, so it helps my gut health if you have IBS. So this is easy on my stomach. It is naturally flavored, no weird taste, no weird aftertaste. It's just delicious, okay? And I like to put some frozen fruits in it, and that's a nice little filling meal for me. So yeah, go get you some. It's delicious. Okay, now for the second day. So this is Tuesday, so we are going to be doing upper body. So I've noticed that with my SI joint pain, you know, my scoliosis, my shoulders have been hurting. And at first I thought it was because my shoulders were weak. Don't get me wrong, they are. But a lot of my pain comes from my imbalances. So my left shoulder is actually a little bit higher than my right. And so that was causing a little bit of discomfort, you know. So when I would do certain exercises, it would be uncomfortable. So my physio told me that I need to be stretching before each and every workout, which I was already doing. I told him I'm doing dynamic stretching, so that's where you use a resistance band. This is like a medium resistance, and then I'm trying to just like go through the motions as if I were training my arm. So because of the resistance, it's kind of giving me a little bit of a workout. It's like warming up my muscles, telling them like, look, we're gonna be using you soon, so you know, get ready. And get ready they did, okay? So this has become one of my favorite days. You know, usually it used to be like leg days that are my favorite, but no, it's actually upper body now. So in my upper body days, I only train my upper body once a week because I like to feel well rested and I don't want to be in pain more than I already am. So I try to put all of my upper body exercises into one day. So in this workout, we're gonna see me hit back, chest, I'm gonna do some triceps and some biceps, and finish off with shoulders. So the first machine I'm using is this assisted chest press machine. So usually I will alternate between doing dumbbell chest press. So I'd be on a bench, I'd have a little bit of incline and I would use that. But because of my wrist, they're very like fragile. So I kind of like using this machine. It kind of helps you with the form. I mean, you can't really mess up this one. All you have to do is squeeze your shoulder blades together like you have a pencil between your back and that you're trying to keep it there. Push against the padding and then you're going to start off from that position. So you want to kind of like use the chest muscles instead of using like your shoulders and biceps and all that stuff. So what I like to do is alternate between the chest press. So I'll try to do 10 at a challenging weight. And then I'm going to rotate the machine so that I can start targeting my back. So this is targeting the rear deltoids. So this is that like nice toned back look, you know. It is considered part of the shoulders. So I don't know, I just love how my back looks when I do these exercises. And I prefer to use a little bit of elevation. So as you can see, I'm putting my knee onto the bench. And that's just because it gives me a little bit of more, I guess, support so that I can actually target my back versus my triceps. So I like to do these in sets of 4. So I will alternate between doing the chest press. So I'll do 10 sets and then I will switch around without a break and then do 10 sets of the rear delt flies. And then I'll take a 1-minute break and then I'll do it all again. And in between every single rep, I usually try to increase the weight. So I track my weights in my head. So I know that I can usually do, I think it's like 35 or something. So I'll start off with that, see how it feels, if it's feeling light, if it's feeling heavy, and then I'll move the weight up. And by my very last set, I want it to be like I'm kind of struggling to do the weight. I want it to be really challenging. And that's just the way you can build muscle. If you're constantly doing the same exercise and you're using the same weight, you're not really building the muscle because your muscle now has gotten used to it. So I want to make it a challenge and that's just how I see my muscle growth. So I like to use this machine just because it makes it a lot easier, and I can target my chest and back at the same time. Honestly, like it's a nice little flip. If you're unsure how to use this machine, they actually have a little diagram, but there's like a little pulley system, so you actually like pull down the knob and you can adjust it based on your body type. So let's say for example, you're not feeling a good stretch in your chest because the machine is like too close together. You can actually make it farther apart. But yeah, if you are unsure how to use this machine, you could ask somebody, you could watch somebody else use it, you can ask the gym staff, but I think this one's pretty easy to figure out. So next we're going to be doing some tricep pull downs. So my biggest area that I'm insecure about is the back of my arms. I really hate that like bat wing fatty look. And obviously I know that you need to just lose weight to lose that, but I would like to have some muscle definition back there. So I just love hitting triceps. For me, I don't need to go really heavy to feel them. When I train my triceps, I focus on exhausting the muscle. So I focus on high reps. So I'm going to pick a weight that feels moderately challenging, and then I'm gonna go until pretty much failure. So like until I can't even bring it down anymore. And I'm gonna take a 1-minute break. Usually my triceps are just on fire by this point. And I don't know about anyone else, but like, when I train my triceps, I guess because I don't train them often, they're like weak. You know what I mean? Like they just burn so easily. So with this one, I've actually seen some people do this incorrectly, and I could be doing incorrectly, but here's my tips. So pretty much I want to keep my elbows at a 90-degree angle, and I'm going to make sure that the top part of my arms does not move. It should be my forearms. So my forearms should be moving, and I'm pulling the little attachment down to my waist, and in that process I'm like, imagine like you're splitting a ribbon in half, and I'm gonna be feeling that in my triceps. And at the bottom movement, I just hold for a little bit, feel the burn in my triceps, and then I let it go. So then my second back exercise that I like to do is I guess like a lat pull down. Is it a lat pull down? I don't know what these are called, but pretty much it's almost like the tricep pull down, except this one is focusing on my back. So all I do is I just lean over just a little bit, slight bend in my knees, and then I'm going to be pulling the attachment down to my hips, but I'm going to be keeping just a slight bend in my elbows. So what this is doing is teaching me to pull with my back muscles, and I'm pulling it down towards my hips. I'm getting that nice little stretch when I'm letting the weight go back up. So you're not letting it drop, you're controlling it. And this is a really, really great exercise for me, because whenever I do this, I like feel my back like crack into place. Like it feels so good, and I can go pretty heavy with this. So so I actually decided to do both this day. I guess I was really proactive. So I also am doing some dumbbell chest press, I guess bench press. So I am using the 20 dumbbells, and this is just like the warm-up for me. Depending on how my wrist is feeling, I can either go heavier or I have to stick with this weight. So if I would stick with the 20s, I would increase my reps. So instead of doing 10, I try to hit 12. The heavier weights that I use, I lower my reps. So what I'm doing is just pressing my back into the bench, and that makes sure that my shoulders are protected. I'm not feeling any pain in my shoulders, not feeling any pain in my wrists. So when you set this up, you want to twist your wrist just a little bit. Like for example, if you were to just lay down and put your arms at your side, that would probably be very difficult to like lift weights like that. So I kind of tuck my like my armpits in just a little bit, twist my wrist, and then I'm going to be going from that position. And you could see it here in this video, but that just protects your shoulders. Make sure you don't get any injuries. So if you are feeling pain with this, chances are you're not doing it correctly. So either drop the weight and check your form, or just have somebody else ask. Like you can ask questions. Hey, like, does it look like I'm doing right? Don't be afraid to lower the weights. I remember when I first started doing this exercise, I could only do 10 pounds in each hand, and I was so frustrated because I was training my chest twice a week, you know, and I wasn't seeing any progress. But trust me, it will come. So women naturally have a weaker upper body. We have a stronger lower body, and men have a stronger upper body. So don't feel bad. You know, it's gonna come within time. So now I'm doing some shoulder lateral raises, and I really wanted to show like how quickly I'm doing them. So I'm just making sure that I'm using that time under tension. So like I'm not swinging the weights. I used a weight that is appropriate for me. Now you might think 10 pounds is light, but the shoulder muscles are actually weak. So what I do is I pick 10 pounds and I try to go for as many reps as I can, or sometimes I'll do in reps of 10. And then I'll superset this with some hammer curls. So these are targeting the bicep. It also is targeting the shoulder and chest. So I'll do a little superset of that. And usually this superset kind of like, it finishes me, you know? I used to not work my shoulders as much because, like I said before, I had pain, but now I realize that it's just an imbalance. So I'm trying to work on fixing that imbalance. So to do that, instead of using a heavy weight for one arm, a lighter weight for the other, I actually have to use the same weight for both arms, doing the same amount of reps. So instead of doing one arm at a time, I do them both, and that way I make sure I hit the amount of reps for each arm, and there will be no more imbalances. Okay, we are moving on to Wednesday. So this is my second leg day. So this would be my quad, calves, and hamstring leg day. So I've been really focusing on my quads. Not really, I don't want to really grow them. I just want to strengthen them. So I found that training my quads has helped a lot with my knee pain. It's helped with my squatting. It also helps with stability, and indirectly it's helping out my pain in my back. So the first exercise I like to do is these heel elevated goblet squats. So the elevation in the heel is going to help for people who have or who lack mobility in their ankles. So if you ever did a squat and you noticed that your ankles were kind of rising up off the ground, and you have back pain, so this is actually bad, and putting the plate underneath your heels is actually going to help with that. So it helps you get a nice deeper squat. So with these, I'm targeting my glutes, I'm targeting my quads, my calves, hamstrings, all that. And I like to just put the dumbbell on my shoulder and kind of like slowly go down, come back up. So I do it in a superset, I guess you could say. So I'm going to be doing the 10 heel elevated goblet squats with the weight, and then right after, with no break, I'm going to be dropping the weight, and then I'm going to be doing 10 body weight goblet squats with the heel elevated. So this kind of does like a burnout. So I want to feel that muscle burning. My quads are on fire after this, and it is a very effective exercise. So if you notice, I'm leaning forward slightly, and this is going to be targeting my glutes a little bit more. If I were to stand a little bit more straight up, it's going to be targeting my quads. Now, because I'm very quad dominant, I don't need to actually target my quads directly in that type of way. I feel my quads no matter what. Trust me, okay? So I'm just doing this so that I can actually feel it in my glutes as well as my quads. If I did not do this, then my quads would just be like demolished, and I wouldn't even feel it in my glutes. So yeah, so this is the exercise I like to start with because, like I said before, it's the hardest. And then I'm going to be moving on to some dumbbell hip thrusts. So if you've watched my recent videos, I told you that I have stopped hip thrusting. So I stopped barbell hip thrusting because it was just exhausting. It was inducing panic attacks, anxiety attacks. I don't really know why. I think it could be an asthma issue, but anyways, so I just took a break. So now I've started incorporating it slowly. So now I'm starting back in with some dumbbell hip thrusts. So I'm using the 75-pound dumbbell, and this is the heaviest that my gym has. So for an extra little challenge, I guess you could say, I put a resistance band around my knees, and so this helps teach my body that I need to push my legs outwards. So this is going to be engaging my side glutes, so the glute medius, glute minimus. I really want to be building my hips. I like that side view of the glutes. So it's kind of like a double whammy, you know? So this is targeting my glute maximus. So it is targeting the majority of the glute muscle, but just to kind of make it a little bit more challenging, I'm gonna put the glute band on. This really burns, and I like to do these very slow and controlled. So what I would do is do 10 sets of these hip thrusts, and then as soon as that is finished, I'm going to drop the weight on the side, and then I'm going to be doing 10 body weight hip thrusts. And by this time I'm burning, okay? And another thing I like to do, it's a triset. So I would do 10 hip thrusts with the weight, and then on the last set, right before I feel like I'm giving up, I'm going to hold the weight for as long as I can, so until failure, and then I'm going to drop the weight, and then I'm going to be doing the 10 bodyweight hip thrusts. So it just depends on my mood. Sometimes I also like to put in some hip abductions like I am doing in this video, but after a while, your hips are just girl fried. Like, I'm telling you, you need to try this, okay? I also like to do these in between my exercises because it helps keep the blood flowing to my glutes so that I make sure I'm feeling it in my glutes. It's important that I do this because I am quad dominant. My third exercise is going to be these sumo squats, I guess you would call them. So I'm using that same dumbbell, the 75-pound, and I'm doing a very deep sumo squat. So my legs are further apart, my knees are going past my toes in this sense, and I'm just making sure that I'm holding the weight and but I'm keeping my spine straight. So I don't want to be like curved over. I'm trying to keep a neutral spine, and so I'm going down very slowly, feeling that deep stretch in my glutes, and then I'm coming back up. So sometimes I like to superset this with some hip abductions, but usually by this point I'm like usually tired, so I'll just do like two sets of 10, and then I will be moving on to my next exercise. But for me, this is like a nice, like, I guess like a lazy shy girl leg day because I can kind of stay in one place. Like, so I do my hip thrust in one place, my goblet squats in one place, my sumo squats in one place. Like, you could, if you were in walking distance of your dumbbells, you could stay in one spot. Like, you don't have to be running all over the gym, you know? So yeah, so that is my third exercise for my leg day. And at the end, I like to do a kind of like a burnout. So this is it's like the back extension machine, but I'm going to show you how to make this glute focus, okay? So it's just going to be just like you're doing a back extension, except with this one, you're going to curve your spine. So I know that in a lot of exercises, they tell you don't curve your spine, but in this one specifically, you want your spine curved. So what I'm doing is I'm tucking my chin into my chest. So that is going to be curving my spine. So keep the chin tucked, and then I'm going to be pulling the weight towards my hips. And in the same way, I'm going to be using my hips to kind of push into the pad, and that is going to be pulling the weight up. So instead of pulling the weight up with my back, just my back, or pulling the weight up with my arms, I'm going to be using my legs, my glutes, to pull myself up. And I like to do this nice and slow, nice and controlled, so I can feel the glute muscles stretching. So this is a really great exercise for me personally because it targets the glutes as well as the hamstrings. People say that this targets the glute shelf, so the glute medius and glute minimus, like, you know, but I mainly feel it in my gluteus maximus and my hamstrings. But this is amazing for hitting that glute hamstring tie-in. So I like to do these. First, I start off with like either a lightweight or 10 body weight glute extensions, and then I will go into the heavier weight. So now I'm at the point where I can do a pretty heavy weight. So I'm using a 45-pound plate here, and I'm tucking my chin in, making sure my back and spine is curved, and then I'm pulling the weight up to my hips. Now, there's two different ways you can do this. So you can have your legs straight, which will of course, target more of your quads. You might feel it more on your hamstrings. So I've turned my feet out just a little bit. So I just rotated it a little bit. And this is going to be targeting my glutes a lot more. So if you're having trouble feeling this in your glutes, try rotating your legs outward. You kind of look like a duck, you know what I mean? But this is a good cue to help you target your glute muscles, especially if you're struggling. This exercise is great for a finisher because no matter what I do, whether I'm using weights or just body weight, I am fried. Like, I am done, okay? I feel it everywhere. I'm winded. I can't even wear my headphones because they fall out. So the last thing I'm going to be doing is some hamstring curls. So we have this machine at our gym. It's the seated hamstring curl machine. So what I like to do is do a set of 10 at a moderately challenging weight. And I like to do these slow and controlled. When the machine comes back up, I like to put a resistance on it so that it comes up slowly. I don't let it swing. And then after those 10 sets at the moderate weight, I'm going to lower it to something a little bit more easier. And then I'm going to be doing single leg exercises. So I just kind of tuck one leg in and I focus on one leg at a time. And this just helps me make sure that I have no imbalances. I already knew I had a glute imbalance, so I want to make sure that my hamstrings are also not imbalanced. I noticed that one hamstring is a little bit more tight than the other, and through physio I've been trying to work on this, stretching, but that's just what happens in the body. So I try to do one at a time. And the thing with glute or hamstring imbalances, muscle imbalances, is that the stronger muscle will always take over. So you may not notice that you have that imbalance until you do something with a single muscle. So like when I use both legs to do these hamstring curls, to me it feels great. I can go heavy, it feels normal. But as soon as I go to one leg, I can see that one is struggling. One is easy, one is struggling. So I'm trying to make sure that both of these are targeted well. And then in between, while my hamstrings are burning, I like to do some calf raises. So body weight calf raises is the best thing to do for your calves. My calves are mooing. I'm very happy with them. Everybody compliments them, especially when I wear heels. They are definitely the star of the show. So I do these just slow and controlled. I try to do about 30, and by the 30th rep, my calves are burning, okay? And I also want to show you my rest day, because this is also important, because usually when I show a week of workouts, I just show like my workouts, but this is my rest day. So on a Thursday, I like to go plant shopping. So I make it like an active rest day. We do like a lot of walking, go check out the mall. But I have an obsession with plants, and if you do too, on this channel I do a lot of like plant chores. I show you my plants. I did a plant tour recently. So that's something you're interested in, join the channel. So if you like lifting and plants, this is where you want to be. But I recently decided to get some caladiums. So these are so beautiful. Look how pretty these are. But they are very finicky, so they actually partially died on me. But the fun thing about these is that they grow from bulbs, which means that these can be grown over and over and over again. So I can just plant these in the ground and they can grow. Even though the ones that I had bought actually died, they died off, I had to cut them off. I could just replant them and grow. But look at this huge palm. It was on clearance for $20. Is that not crazy? But I do not have the room in my house, and I could not, okay? I love to go check out the discount aisle, because usually you can find plants that actually just need a good watering, and it's savable, so this is my second hobby. It is plants. Let me know if you guys want to see more plant videos. I've been doing repottings. I've also been showing you my plant struggles when I have a plant that has root rot, etc. But yeah. So I hope you enjoyed my week of workouts. Let me know if you have any questions down below. I will make sure to answer them. I'm also going to leave my exact workout plan, what I do, the reps, the sets, the weights. I'll leave that all in the pinned comment and the description if anybody would like to follow along, etc. But on my last workout day, so on the Friday, Sira actually invited me to go try her gym at Movati. So it's a big fancy gym, so I agreed to go. So we actually ended up doing a third leg day, which is so funny because I thought I would just be demolished, but I was actually pretty good. So if you train your legs a lot more often, you're actually in pain a lot less. You're able to recover a lot faster. So it's usually when you leave training one muscle group to one day, that's when you feel very sore, exhausted, and all this stuff. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you got it this far, Comment down below some like gym emojis or some sports emojis, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.